All right, back with more number one Cochran Sports Showdown. Let's talk about the defense. Two things, Will Graves, I'll start with you, that stood out to me. Number one, Byron Pringle's second touchdown and all the missed tackles en route to the end zone. Who's number 38?
I didn't know until I looked it up after the game. That's John Simon, guys, former guy who played with Cam at Ohio State, but signed to the practice squad and, elevated because of COVID stuff. I mean, but that's where we're at, right? I mean, I think, Minka missed a tackle, but Minka's made so many tackles, this season. I'm okay with him kind of whiffing on one. It's just been, but that's the thing. We spend a lot of time, when the offense can't generate anything in the first half, and that puts the defense on the field too long, that gets them down. That's one of the reasons they're down. The defense is just on the field way too long in the first half because the offense can't stay out on the field. So, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, but I just think, again, it's a talent issue when you got guys like John Simon. No offense to him, he's played in the league a long time, but when we were breaking camp in mid-August, this wasn't what we envisioned in week 15, and yet kind of here we are. I mean, that's part of the problem. It's just like guys that should not be playing in late December are playing in late December.
And that's been part of the defense all year, joining the likes of Daniel Archibong, who similarly people were looking down when he showed up in that first game he played, and Derek Tuska, all these guys that weren't even part of camp and been brought in throughout the season. There is certainly no doubt you can blame whatever you want. You can push it all at Kevin Colbert or whatever, or you can say it was a strange offseason with the cap going down. They had a lot of free agents, whatever it is. That's fine, but there's certainly a lack of depth. There's been a depth issue all year, and when you have guys get hurt, which they have, that's contributed to. But I think there's been poor tackling, and I'll even credit Mark Caboli for making the observation, but it was an astute one that when he started this season, you expected pretty much the offense isn't much different than what we thought, probably, right? If the offense, you could probably say it could be better, and you probably hoped to be better when the season started, but for this team to make the playoffs and be where you wanted it to be, if you're a fan, the defense had to be, if not elite, had to be very good, had to be a top 10 defense, and that's been the biggest disappointment. This run defense at times and the tackling has just been atrocious.
Well, I think part of it is, you can start with TJ Watt. I mean, he's a guy that obviously is a great player, and when he's on the field, I mean, he's just dominant and does a lot of things, but he's not right now. He's hurt. It's clear that he's hurt. And that's something that you're going to have to deal with, for the next 4, 5, 6 years or whatever his deal is for and all the guaranteed money they gave him. When he plays, he's more productive than anybody in the league. But the problem is he's one of those guys where you have to use that caveat, well, when he plays. And so, today was pretty much a non-factor. He had a rib thing or whatever, and he tried to play through it. Alex Highsmith, I think, can be an okay player. But beyond Cam Hayward, I just look around and I say, I don't know. Minka Fitzpatrick makes a lot of tackles back there. I don't know if he's great in some of their coverages, but I think he makes a lot of tackles. He's a physical player. I just look at this as a bunch of guys named Joe. And everybody thinks that Alu and Tuitt are going to come save the day next year. One guy's going to be coming off a major injury. The other guy might not ever play football again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. All right, let's talk real quick next week and the week after. The Steelers have 2 games left. Technically, they still are alive. They still can win this division, which is remarkable at this point. But Will, realistically, what do you see in the next 2 weeks? Because they're going to need Cincinnati to lose 2 as well as them winning 2.
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, if the Browns throw the ball even once, everybody should be fired. Okay, I mean, that should be just the first game plan. But, I mean, I think they can look. They've been good at home. I mean, they've been competitive at home. The games haven't been any good, but they're always close. So you sort of maybe like them there against the Browns. But then, the Ravens scored some points today. The defense is banged up, but if they get their guys back, the idea of them going on the road in Week 17 and winning in Baltimore to get a playoff spot, I mean, I don't care who the hell's playing for the Ravens. That is a very tough sell for me at the moment.
Well, how about this, though? The 2 teams the Steelers faced their last 2 games, the Browns and the Ravens, they have not beaten anybody except each other since November 21st. They've got a month now where they're both on losing streaks, except when they each got a win against each other in that time. So they're 2 not very good teams. Bob, you mentioned the division title, and that's a long shot because you can't really expect the Bengals to lose 2 in a row. The wild card isn't that absurd. They only need is 3 teams to get 1 loss, assuming the Steelers win both games, which I don't think anybody should predict at this point, but again, they're not facing very tough teams as bad as the AFC. All they need is one loss from the Dolphins, who play 3 pretty good teams starting Monday night, and they need one loss each from the Chargers and Raiders to make the wild card. And the Chargers and Raiders play each other the last week, so they really don't need one loss, and assuming the Dolphins lose. So they could still, despite all of this, and this is, I guess, my point overall, is I don't think the Steelers are a very good team, but I think relative to the rest of the AFC, they make the playoffs. Their most likely opponents are Buffalo or Tennessee, and those 2 teams they already beat, the 2 and 3 seeds. The Steelers have beat the 2nd and 3rd best teams in the AFC this season. So to say they're this terrible team and they're that far off just because they get blown out, they get blown out every other week, granted. I don't think they're that much far off compared to anybody else in this mediocre league right now.
If they played Buffalo in a playoff game up in Buffalo, they would get their doors blown off just like they did today. They are that far off. Today was not fiction. They needed the Tennessee gave them 4 turnovers inside their own 40-yard line, and they had to hang on for dear life to win that game. And Tennessee, I don't even think is all that great without Derrick Henry. They just are one of those resourceful teams that finds ways to win games. My point is, you know what? The Browns yesterday, if they'd have just did what Will said and handed the ball to Nick Chubb a bunch instead of letting Baker Mayfield throw it to the Packers, they would have won that game. I just think there's no way they're going 2-0 in these games. So let's stop the flights of fantasy and that somehow they're going to get into the playoffs and then Ben's going to catch heat and he's going to be like the bus and go out on top.
I made it when Ben made the decision to come back last year. I said, you know what? I understood why, but I also said, if Dan Marino can lose 62-7 in his last game, then Ben can get boat raced by the Browns. But hey, if they make the playoffs, maybe he can lose 62-7 in his last game. So who knows? Hold out hope, guys. Come on, let's go.
We got to go on a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the NHL and the situation they're in right now because they've been shut down, and it looks like that's going to continue all throughout this week into the weekend. That's next when we come back right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.